little bit late. Kiana Sage here for the Being in Sync 366 video series. It is Tuesday all day. And here in the United States, everybody's talking about politics, but we're not going to be doing that here. No. Today we're talking about toxic streams. Just going to wait for people to join on here. Take a deep breath. All right, here y'all come. Just waiting for everybody to join in. Today we're talking about toxic streams. Hey, Tammy, it's good to see you. It's been a while. Good to see you here. Hopefully life has been treating you well. We've missed you. Hi, Eric. Good to see you. How are you? How's 55 treating you? Just waiting for people to join in here. So we'll wait. I usually have been waiting about 5 minutes for people to join in, and then I will get going on the topic of today, which is toxic streams. Now I have another video on here about toxic streams, but I thought it would be really helpful to do a Q&A on it because a lot of people get confused about toxic streams. They don't really understand them, and therefore they keep repeating them, and we don't want that. We don't want that. So I'm drinking my tea today. I have Inner Light tea. I have my coffee that I haven't finished yet. But my coffee cup says, do more of what you love today. And I love teaching people things that they didn't know existed, like toxic streams. Hey, Wendy, good to see you here. Yay. So glad that you can make it. It's not really a cowbell. It's just like, hello, bell. Hello. We don't talk about what you voted. We're not even talking about voting here. So if you want to talk about voting, there's a million other live streams you can do for that. Oh, thank you so much, Tammy. I'm so glad that you're here. We'll see if we have a mod that jumps on here. Hey, Mick, good to see you. I like all the regulars are going to get a ding. How about that? Wendy, nice bell. You like that? Only a bit of time today. Okay. Well, today we're talking about toxic streams. I'm just waiting for people to join in here. We'll wait a few more minutes and then we'll get into that. So for those of you who do not know, my name is Kiana Sage and I guide people to peace, help people align physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I do that by addressing the patterns in the field because the patterns in our field dictate how our energy flows. So when we are more aligned and congruent within, we will have greater circulation. When we have greater circulation, we have life force going on and we get to learn our lessons. Now, the thing about toxic streams is most people don't ever talk about them. And this is what I call them. I don't even know another healer, another energy person. I don't know anybody that calls them like this. I just call it as I see it, and when I address it in a client, it goes away. So toxic streams I'm going to use an example, and I'm going to use a medical example because I think it'll be most helpful. No, I'm not a doctor, but I'm going to use a medical example because you don't need to be a doctor to use a medical example, and you don't need to be a doctor to align within, okay? So many of you have gotten stuck in the matrix thinking that you need to go outside of yourselves to get healing, but healing happens within, all right? It happens within your heart. So now when you have a toxic stream, let's just say you're angry or ruminating, or you can't get your thoughts off of this past event or this person or this thing. Let's just say somebody has made you very angry, maybe vengeful, and that is what creates a toxic stream. So a toxic stream is just like that. It is a stream of consciousness that is toxic, that you have hooked into. And it actually happens in your energy field, but it goes within your body. So when you are ruminating or processing or looping over a thought, you're going to have, oftentimes, not always, a toxic stream. Now, a toxic stream is just like a stream. And imagine this stream going into your bloodstream. Okay? So if you have one toxic stream, it's going to go into your bloodstream, which is like a river, right? So you basically, with your thoughts, infect your body. That's how thoughts become formed, right? Through toxicity. So if you have more than one toxic stream, that will influence how your body is resonating. If you have more than one toxic stream, let's just say you have many unhealed relationships with toxic people. And let me just go, I'm going to go out on a limb here. If you have a narcissist in your life, chances are you have a toxic stream. Okay? I went ahead and said it. You know, that's what it is. They teach you how to come into your power. But if you do not change the toxicity and your relationship with these people and the patterns, then you get the stream. They don't get the stream. You see, they feed off of the stream of toxicity. They live off of it. But you just want to live your life healthy and happy. A toxic stream is thought forms or frequencies of thought forms that are tethered to negativity, let's say, toxicity, let's say, an illness or a toxic situation or environment. So that feeds the toxic stream. Now, when you have multiple ones of those toxic streams coming into your system, you become toxic. And what does that do? It weakens your field. It weakens your heart. It weakens you physically, mentally, and emotionally. So you want to address toxic streams. You don't want to ignore them because they poison the entire system. Nobody is immune from this. If you have a toxic stream and you allow it, that means you've gone into agreement with it. It will poison your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies. And it will make you more vulnerable to nefarious energies and to weaknesses. That means you'll be tired, maybe exhausted. You will be easily triggered when you have toxic streams. I mean, it seems like everything can trigger you. So y'all, looks like I don't have anybody in the chat right now to help me moderate. So if you spam the chat, you're just going to be deleted, okay? Just no time for spamming the chat. So that is what I have to say about toxic streams, keeping it super simple today. I'm curious, what questions do you have about toxic streams? I'm only answering questions in relationship to toxic streams. If you ask me who I'm voting for, you're going to be put in timeout. So I'm just going to look and see what y'all think about toxic streams here. Vina Yak. I don't know how to say all these names in India, so please excuse my... he says, you explain things in a very impressive manner. Well, thank you. I'll subscribe. Well, thanks for being here. Look, if what I'm saying resonates with you, please take what works and leave the rest behind. But toxic streams are an aspect within the thinking that goes awry and brings in weaknesses. So it creates more separation. Anything that is creating separation keeps us from aligning to the natural laws, keeps us from aligning to the law of one, which is exactly what this channel is all about. It's all about aligning to unity, consciousness, Christ consciousness, God's sovereign freedom. And so we must be able to identify our toxic streams. Okay, I'm just looking to see if there's any questions about this. Hey, Sabir, good to see you. Good to see you. It's good to see the regulars. Yes, eating toxic food will give you negative streams as well. You can eat food and it will throw you off physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And depending on how toxic the food is, it will even disconnect you from your higher self. That's how food can weaken you. So beware. Hellfire, very nice compliments. Oh, Eric, I'm so happy you had a good birthday. Oh, hey, Oliver. Oliver's asking, can you give us a personal example? He wants me to put my business out here. Okay, of a toxic stream. Okay, a personal example that I think most of you can relate to is having a relationship with somebody who is often referred to as a narcissist. But we're not going to say that they're a narcissist per se. We're just going to say that they have all of the expressions of what narcissists have, which is very egoic, and they are mean-spirited, okay? So I had a best friend, confidant, that was like this. And the betrayal of my relationship with my best friend at the time was so intense. I just could not imagine how somebody could be so mean. At that time in my life, I was very naive, and I believed that, people were telling the truth. I now believe that most people lie, and I'm okay with them lying, and I trust myself over other people, okay? And I would encourage you all to do that too. But but what I got hooked into is, and ruminating over and tripping over is, I was trying to understand why. Why was she like this? Why would she do this? Why would she say that? Why? Because I'm so analytical. That just hooked me into a toxic stream in which she could siphon the hell out of me. That happened for far too long. So I had to learn my lessons. And there was a lot of painful lessons with this relationship. But because I'm so willing to learn, I was able to learn them. But when you have a toxic stream and you get stuck in it, trying to understand why people are the way that they are, and it brings you down into a negative spiral, right? So that's a toxic stream. When you're engaged with somebody who has expressions of narcissistic behaviors, they loop you into those streams because they feed off of your naivety, right? Your weaknesses. They feed off of that. So when that was happening, I had toxic streams. I had a lot of them. I had a lot of them with this one person. So I was sick. I was weak. I was able to work out. I was exercising, but I was weak. And I was weak emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And it was a a big hole I had to dig myself out of. But toxic streams, they bring you down, they spiral you down. And if you keep them and you keep tethered to those toxic streams, you too will be sick. And that will be harder for you to get out. Now, if you have identified, oh, this is toxic, this is toxic, this is toxic, and then you consciously choose to do differently because you know that you don't want to engage with toxic behavior, you can't just say, I'm not going to engage with toxic behavior. No, you have to make a conscious decision to do differently. That is what sends your energy in a more aligned, congruent direction. Hopefully that's helpful, Oliver. Was that specific enough? So right to speech is conditional. I don't know what you're talking about, AJ. But I would say, yeah, if you live by the laws of the land, I think it's pretty apparent that speech is conditional. Mick is saying, the world is so toxic, it could be hard sometimes to stay positive. Only when you're in a toxic stream. So Mick, if you think the world is toxic, that's your perception. I would ask you to look at where are the toxic streams. You must identify them in order to free yourself from them. If you are unwilling to identify them and you say the whole world is toxic, well, then that's your belief system that needs to be overhauled. You could do that. It takes some time, but you can overhaul your beliefs for sure, Mick. For me, I think the best thing is to have all your beliefs in alignment with God, sovereign freedom, the natural laws to the best of your ability. That way, when you see a belief of yours that is not in alignment with source or creation, you just change your behavior. Mark, I gave an example. Did that help you? A lot of people, a good example of toxic streams, and you guys might understand this one. If you've been married and divorced and it wasn't an easy divorce, usually there's a toxic stream there. Toxic streams are often correlated with a lack of acceptance and a lack of responsibility on both parties. Hey, Greg, good to see you here. My pure connection to my heart makes sense to me now. I become toxic. Oh, Greg, well, your awareness can shift that. Your awareness can shift all of it, but you must be willing to back up your awareness with conscious action. Hey, Jerry, good to see you. Hello. Good morning. Tell me, have you had your tea? Where are you from? I'm drinking my tea now. If a friend did not help in a critical financial system, even she can do that. It's better to break. Well, I would never have the expectation that somebody get me out of a financial situation. So that would be on you. And that doesn't mean they're toxic. So a toxic stream is a negative thought loop that drains your energy. Yes, but it's more chronic than just a negative loop. It would be multiple negative loops. It feels like you can't get out of it. That's what it is. Like you just, like you're onto it, Mark, but it's It's more than just that. So it would be a toxic stream is a chronic state of multiple thought loops, okay? Usually it has to do with other people and or situations and or an event that took place. So there's three things that it could be. You could have a toxic stream between you and a friend. You could have a toxic stream between you and a partner. You could have a toxic stream with an event that happened within a relationship. So let's just say if somebody cheated, but you decided to stay with them, and that would create a toxic stream. So that would be a situation. And it wouldn't necessarily be about the guy, but it could be both of them. I'm just using that as an example. Another way of having a toxic stream is having an event that you've experienced that you continue to think of and have a negative perception of it, and you haven't learned your lessons and you keep going back to it over and over and over again. That would be the third way a toxic stream might come up. So you own that stream and you're saying let go and be free of them. What I'm saying is you are the one that creates the toxic stream. They may be triggering it, but you are the one, because of lack of awareness, lack of conscious choice, lack of mental discipline, lack of conscious awareness, you keep doing the same thing. So you perpetuate the toxicity. That means you go into agreement with it. And so what you want to do is learn. You want to learn. You want to identify what the toxic stream is. Then you want to go into conscious choice. And also you want to learn your lessons from that relationship so you don't repeat it with another toxic stream. When you have a toxic stream in your field and in your body, it will create a frequency and a signal that creates another situation that's just like it. And that's how you get looped into one situation after another, after another, after another. Oh, thank you, Oliver, for helping out here. Okay, Mark is saying this is similar to those who go out of their way to find negatives in life and dwell on them until they can't see anything but them. Yes, Mark, this is a really good example. I saw this with a group of narcissists that came to me separately. But these narcissists, it was a narcissistic group that they created because they were in relationships with narcissists. And guess what? They became narcissists. So you become what you focus on. You do become what you focus on. But that doesn't stop the toxicity, because you can try to redirect your attention, but if you stay in relationship with the toxicity, guess what? The toxicity stream still runs. So in order to clear the toxicity, you have to have higher access of consciousness. Does that make sense? And that only comes from being in connection purely, totally, and fully to your heart. Okay, Ishan is saying, ma'am, how to bear with my toxic parents and family? Well, that's a tough one, because the good news is that you are identifying that there is some toxicity within your perceptions of your parents and your family. So what that's also telling me is that you're in your head and not in your heart. That's also telling me that you haven't taken full responsibility for your co-creation of that relationship. So you want to take 100% responsibility. And now you want to say, how do I want to be different in this relationship where I can accept this person totally, fully, completely as they are? And I'm going to accept myself as I am. And then you're going to feel in your heart and say, what's the action that needs to be taken within yourself? Because that's going to be different for everybody. Hello, Hamburg. Good to see you here, Hans. The topic today is about toxic streams. Look at the demon pumpkin giving advice here. They're saying just to leave them, but that does not take away the toxicity because you need to raise up in consciousness. Demon pumpkin, you need to raise up in consciousness and then change your name. Hi, Ashley. I'm just looking to see if there's any questions. So Ishtan is saying the culture is tough. And the culture is, what you're saying is the culture is not the actual environment. It's a set of belief systems that are incongruent to health and wellness. So you can change not the culture's belief systems, but your own belief system. And so then you go into alignment with kindness, love, compassion, health, and vitality. But being in a toxic situation with your family and seeing your family as toxic is not supportive of them changing or of you taking responsibility. Demon is saying that he left his family right when he got to adulthood. And, you know, that is a choice that many people make, but that's not, one choice is not the same for everybody. It really depends on a couple things. So being able to leave all toxicity and just say, you know what, I don't accept that in my life. That's not who I am. That's not what I want. That requires a lot of inner strength. That requires a lot of courage. And that is a connection to the heart to take care of yourself. A lot of people are lacking their connection to their heart and courage, and they're still worried about what other people think of them. That is a lack of inner strength, period. It's not very complicated. Hey, Roberto. Thank you, Wendy. Just looking for questions here. Demon is saying that it's like his family died. I would say for some, I didn't talk to a lot of my family, and I would say the hardest part of not talking to your family is the social implications, what other people think and judge you based on no information. Sophia, apologizing for what? Apologies for what? Demon, it doesn't seem like your name really reflects the heart and the courage and your inner strength that you seem to be speaking on this platform. So I would say you've outgrown that name. Sophia, apologies are only helpful when they're in alignment and they're authentic. But why would you apologize for having a toxic stream? What needs to be done is to have full containment of the self. Because when you have a toxic stream, there's been an abdication of self. You've lost yourself in order to appease this this relationship or this situation, and it's up to you to clean up the mess because you went into alignment with it. Curious. Okay, let's see. Ma'am, should I communicate more with my family to understand more about my situation? I think first of all, I'm not going to tell you what to do or not do as far as communication. But at minimum, what needs to happen is your perception of them needs to be one of acceptance and awareness, which when you perceive people as toxic, that usually shuts down your aperture of your ability to see beyond your experience. There's no acceptance when you see people as toxic. They can be toxic if you're not attached to it and still you can accept them. Then if you're seeing somebody as toxic, what's that conversation going to be like? It's not going to go very well. So the communication that needs to occur is your inner communication. That's what I would focus on strengthening the courage of your heart, strengthening your inner light, strengthening who you know yourself to be, who you are becoming. That will shift your attention away from this toxic streams. But the truth is most people have toxic streams and they deny it, and therefore the toxicity continues. Yes, I know the difference between the taste between a lentil and a chickpea. Thanks, Tomas. You're just so wise. Bikram is asking, please tell me how you be so positive. I think it's, I don't see myself as positive, so I appreciate you recognizing that in me. I just really love to learn. And I don't really see things in a negative way or a positive way. I see them as a curiosity of learning. And I think that makes the biggest difference in my outlook, is that when I'm learning, it's all good. It changes the entire frequency because now I'm aligning to consciousness. I'm expanding. Mick says, I don't care what anyone thinks about me. I tell you, there's a crap of energy out there, darkness, and it's real. Okay, Mick. I would say the energy these days is palpable. But as much as there is darkness, there is greater light. And I will say, where are you putting your attention? Okay, Sophia is saying, apologizing for my role. Oh, Sophia, wow, I love that you're saying that. Sophia is saying, do I apologize for my role in creating a toxic relationship? I think the best apology is a changed behavior. So is an apology needed? I think an apology is a nice to have, not a need to have. I think the best way to show that you are acknowledging your ways are changing is to change your behavior. Okay? So I don't think you have to apologize. Just know that you're changing that toxic relationship through your conscious awareness. Ishan is saying, how do I recognize and identify toxicity in my own self? What are the traits? Okay. The biggest trait is going to be, are you connected to your heart or not? You could say yes or no. Do I have mental discipline? Meaning, am I directing my thoughts, or do my thoughts direct my moods? Okay. Do I have a lot of drama in my life? Meaning, people creating drama and conflict for the sake of creating drama and conflict. Those relationships are going to reflect where you are. Because if you have a toxic stream, you're going to have toxic behaviors everywhere around you. Okay? So you want to identify them so you can switch out of them. Okay. Sabir, what is the juice recipe? It's the smoothie for life. It's on here, smoothie for life. And there's a video on here for the smoothie for life. Just looking for questions around the topic of toxic streams. Energy can neither be destroyed or created. Well, then you might not align with what I'm saying then, because I believe we are in co-creation all the time. And I believe that energy is about being transmuted and changed. So, you know, if you don't think that energy is creation, then you might just have a different belief than I. Oh, thank you so much, Michael. I'm experimenting with my hair these days. Thanks for noticing. Thank you, Michael. Okay. All right. Demon Pumpkin says, I've had a pretty easy start to adulthood, though I left my family and moved to Germany to live in a house with a friend, but I needed to pay rent. So yeah, it was easy to collect money from there. Okay. Mick is working on it. All right. So what the Demon Pumpkin is saying here is that he followed his heart. He went to freedom and he had the courage to follow and see that the situation he was in was not what he preferred, and he went into agreement with a new experience. I don't know what you are talking about, Mr. Peep. Shreya is asking what to do if your best friend breaks a contract with you. Well, then you've gone out of agreements, right? So you guys are no longer in agreement. So what is there to do? Except for learn what you need to learn and be grateful that the contract has come to an end and you can move on with somebody who is more in alignment and in agreement with the direction you're going. I know that could be painful, but sometimes you outgrow people. I am absolutely not a part of that LGBTQ community. I am a part of the community of creation. All of the laws, all of the natural laws, that's what I'm a part of. And it doesn't create separation. Stars, we're talking about toxic stream here. I swear there is a lady right now on CNN. I highly doubt that. This knows they always redo them to be on TV, you see. Just looking to see what you guys have to say. Okay, I've gone through all the questions. No questions about toxic streams? Okay. Well, this is my second video on toxic streams. I thought there would be some questions that would help you all understand how to identify it. And hey, life, We are talking about toxic streams. I just finished all the questions. So, streams and what questions people have about them. And, you know, I help people clear out of them, but Sophia, you want to hear more about flowing in a toxic stream? Well, if you are flowing in a toxic stream, you're going to feel physically, you're going to feel weak, exhausted, tired, lethargic. You're going to probably have a lot of physical ailments. You'll probably need to go to a doctor because toxic streams weaken how all of your systems communicate. No, you cannot sample them because toxic streams are happening in the non-physical. They feel physical. I don't know who Dana Bash is, but that's funny. You went and found her. You're funny. Mr. Blue. Well, how to keep ourselves motivated to get out of toxic streams? Oh, that's a deep question. Okay, let me see. How do you get motivated to get out of a toxic stream? Well, first of all, I would say you have to identify what they are. So identify all the toxic streams that you believe you have. So like if you were a client of mine, I would identify how many you had, and I would look to address all of them. Sophia's onto it. Okay, let me see. Once you have identified all the toxic streams, then ask yourself, what conscious action do I need to take to fully embody my responsibility of these situations? So that's a question. What responsibility do I need to take and actions to follow to fully get out of this situation that I created? Okay, that's question number 2. And number 3 is you just move out on what needs to happen. And what most people try to do with toxic streams is keep the same relationship without changing. So they will try to shimmy around the issue. And they'll say, I'm going to set healthy boundaries, or I'm going to do all of these things, but they don't change the behavior. You got to change the behavior. Oh, hey, Mr. Blues from Ireland. So once you've identified the toxic stream, then you've decided you have full responsibility to change it. Then you identified that you were going to take a conscious action to change that relationship. The change always happens within you. It is not asking them to be different than who they are. So I would say the first step is a conscious action is to go into pure acceptance. Can you purely accept all of the people or all of the situations? And what is it going to take for you to go into 100% acceptance? And to go into 100% seeing them and the situation for what it is. That's how you heal. And then Sophia is asking, if I saw that right, can I heal it by sending love and gratitude? You can, for sure, going in, but you don't send it from your head. You got to send it from your heart, Sophia. So you can heal the relationship by sending love. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to consciously respond to it. They will always react, but you don't get to determine their reaction. And oftentimes when people have, let's just say I'll just say a negative a propensity to be very negative, they will react as if you've assaulted them and them love, okay? And why that is not important, but know that just because you are taking care of yourself and sending love, that doesn't mean that love is always replicated or sent back, okay? And I think that's a lot of things, people, when they're sending love or gratitude to a situation, often think that it's going to change the situation. And it does. It changes it by you being the one who's changed. Because anytime you can go into a higher frequency like love and gratitude and acceptance and compassion, it changes the relationship. But the lack of acceptance is what keeps the toxicity in a loop. And it might be that you feel like they're not accepting you, and it's because they won't accept you. Why won't they accept you? Because it's not about them being in acceptance at this point. It's about you understanding that it's about you accepting. What is the most important thing in a relationship? Well, I think that depends, Rashad, on what it is that you value. What are your top values? And that might determine what the most important thing is in a relationship for you. You know, what's important for me in a relationship is freedom. Freedom to be myself. Freedom to be authentic, freedom to be and believe whatever I want to believe without worrying what the other people are thinking. I don't worry about that. I want to be around people who are safe and who are stable and who are working on becoming more conscious. I mean, it just depends, Rashad, what do you value? Rashad is saying, is it trust? I think trust is an inside game. It's a frequency that you tap into. You don't look for trust in other people. You look for other people to be in acceptance of them, and then you feel if what they're doing is resonant with you. Hey, Matthews. Christopher, smart recovery, travel time, and the portal. I don't know what you're saying here. Greg is saying, how do you treat a narcissistic parent? Well, I don't have a narcissistic parent, so I can't speak from my own personal experience. But I would say narcissism in and of itself has gotten a really just horrible rap. And mostly because the behaviors and the mechanisms that people who have this imbalance of an ego. So let's just say what narcissistic is. It's an imbalanced ego, okay? And we have a medical system that has medicalized everything. And, they don't have a treatment plan for people who are narcissists because narcissists don't go for treatment, okay? They don't need it because they are too busy dishing out all the situations. So what I will say here is that a narcissist, by medical standards, is a diagnostic tool, right? But it really doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that it's an imbalance of the ego. It means that the person is not stable. It means they're not working with a full deck, okay? That's what it means. You don't need a diagnosis to know when people are unstable or not. So what do you do when people are unstable? You recognize them as not stable. You recognize them, if they're not stable, they're not safe. And if they're not safe, they're not in alignment with their heart, period. And so then you have a conscious choice to be like, do I want to continue to be in relationship with this person who is not stable, not in their right mind, and unable to connect to their heart, and they're not safe to be around. Why are they not safe to be around? Because their behaviors are erratic, okay? even though they might look normal. Look, a lot of people who are unwell look normal. So what do you want for yourself? Do you want to develop that relationship? What do you want to do with your parents? Wouldn't it be best to just find a nice balance for yourself of what is actually doable? So maybe spending all day with your narcissistic parent is not the answer. Maybe you see, okay, I'm going to spend, instead of all day, I'm just going to spend a couple hours. I'm going to have a beginning time and an end time, and then I'm going to make plans to go somewhere else so I'm not there for a long period of time. And I'm just going to go for 4 hours. And then let's see how you do for the 4 hours. What is that too long of a time? Then you do an assessment at the end and you go into self-care always after your experience with them and see how that works. You got to find what works for you, because as we saw on here earlier, Demon said that he left. He doesn't have a relationship and that works for him. But for you, you might want to look and see, well, what is going to work for you? Is it less time, less interaction, less engagement? What does it look like for you? And here's the other thing I will say. Just assume that your parent, your narcissistic, what you're calling your narcissistic parent, Greg, just assume they're lying, okay? So now that you assume that they're lying and they don't tell you the truth, you cannot be hurt by the words that they say. Okay, so just assume that they are lying, and if you listen to them and you know it's a lie, then you know you can't be hurt by it because you already know you're approaching them differently. See if that works. Sophia says, interesting, maybe that's what I'm experiencing. How can you tell if it's a heart scent or a head scent? Your intention, Sophia. So just put your hand on your heart. Everybody can do this if you want. Put your hand on your heart and just go into your conscious breath. And breathe. And don't worry about sending the energy anywhere. Just feel the energy of gratitude and expand it. So you want to expand it 360 degrees. And you just simply do it through your intention. And so you have the intention to do it there you go. You're doing it. And that's how you can tell. I think that's an excellent question, Sophia. So we start with an intention, but we bring it into our heart. Ishan is saying, I'm just curious, is there an imagery behind you with a white dominated background? Yeah, that's a picture. Hello, hey Matt. Hello, Mario. Anita is asking, what do I do professionally? I do what's called energy psychology. So I help clients realign their energy to be aligned physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So if people are having anxiety, if they're having fear, if they're struggling with a promotion, if they want to get a new job, if they want to be more successful, if they want to be more connected, they want to live more vitality, that's what I help my clients do. I basically teach them how to run their own energy field and see it and sense it. Kenneth is asking, am I married? I sure am. Happily married. Yes. Coming up on knowing my husband for 12 years, being married for 10. Thanks for asking. Matt, everybody is a narcissistic. It's a defense mechanism. Well, Matt, it seems like we have a lot of people that have an imbalance of an ego, but that does not make them a narcissist, which is what's happened, is that so many people have so many experiences that they just call people these names like narcissist without having really an understanding of what that means. So today's topic is toxic streams. Dave, gotta love people that preach and don't have their own lives together. Oh, Dave, you sound like you're projecting. I think my life is pretty together, but I don't even see myself as doing anything that you're saying here, preaching. You think I'm preaching? Go to church. I don't preach. I just teach. If you don't like that goes for all you hear. If you don't resonate with what I'm saying, it's okay. Take what works for you and leave the rest behind. L89PO is saying, I've been in no contact for 19 months with a narcissistic family. Congratulations, that takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage to take full responsibility and to create the life that you want to create. It's not easy. You're not alone. There's a lot of people out there struggling. How can one be disciplined and laser focused? Well, Shark, I don't know that I'm the best one to help you with that because I am not a fan of laser focus because you can't see as much with laser focus as you can with soft focus. As far as being more disciplined, what I would suggest is, you got to have some practices, some solid practices that are going to align you in the direction you want to go. What are those? Is it meditation? Is it exercise? Is it breathing? Is it reading? What is it? Matt, yes, you got it. Hand on the heart, breathe, feel the energy of gratitude and expand it 360 degrees. Good job, Matt. Oh, Sophia says that was powerful. I wobbled at the same time you said, yes, I was doing it. Yeah, you are doing it. Sophia, you did it. And that is how you expand in consciousness. Hey, Sailor's Life, good to see you here. I'm glad you're here. Awesome. An overused word in my opinion. Yeah, I agree. Hey, let's just be honest. Narcissism is just an imbalance of the ego. We have a lot of people out of balance. That's it. That's it. Now, when we look at people as balanced and unbalanced, it's easier. It's less judgmental. And it just then becomes, well, do I want to interact with that or not? Is that going to align me in the direction I want to go or not? No, the answer is always no. It's not going to align you, but people keep going back. Why do they keep going back? For the suffering. People are addicted to suffering. Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Okay, Dolly, hey. All right, y'all, I made it through all of the comments and questions. So we're talking about toxic streams here. It's been just about an hour. If there's no more questions about what a toxic stream is, how to address it, how to heal, we don't have to continue. But if you have questions, I'm here for them. Thanks, Oliver, for all your help. Well, thank you so much, Dolly. What is a toxic stream? UG, ugh, you just joined. A toxic stream is, oh my gosh, a toxic stream is like sepsis. If you have sepsis, you're going to get sick and die. So a toxic stream is a thought about a series of people, relationships, or situations that are repeating. That's a toxic stream. It's a very, very low frequency vibration. And if you don't clear it or unhook from it, get away from it, you will keep replicating it. Now, those of you like Sophia in here, and I think Matt, you two cleared all your toxic streams from doing that experience. And you guys are going to have to go back and replay it. Bradley, I'm not monetized on this channel. This channel is about alignment, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, and being in alignment to the natural laws. Yeah. Somebody is saying I look like a politician. Well, you know, if you're trying to offend me, you can't do it because it's not possible. Just roll off the back of my neck. Matt. Okay. Matt, great question. What about betrayal trauma? Well, the friend that I was talking about earlier, that was a big betrayal. Yes. Is that on today's toxic stream subject? Well, betrayals can become a toxic stream. So you're onto something, Matt. And what you're also onto, Matt, is that not everything is a toxic stream, but a betrayal that is so deep and wounding, it can be a toxic stream. And if it goes unhealed, it infects your entire all of your relationships, because it changes who you are because you haven't healed that betrayal. So earlier on, I talked about, somebody asked me, I think it was Oliver, asked me to tell a personal story of a toxic stream, you know, because I do all this stuff on myself. I'm a practicing alignment professional. I do this all day, every day, because, you know, I just want to rise above, continue to rise above and to reach higher levels of consciousness. And I do that through my own healing. So you can't rise above if you have unhealed trauma, and if you have toxic streams, those are going to bring you down. And it's very difficult to perceive your life appropriately without distortion when you have an imbalance of ego and a toxic stream going on. Does that answer your question, Matt? I hope so. I'm not sure. Betrayals are deep. And I would say if that betrayal, like a lot of people who have dealt with lying and cheating and stealing, those are betrayals, right? And oftentimes those are soul wounds. And if those soul wounds do not get healed, then they metastasize literally, and that's how people get sick. Because all illness begins with soul sickness. All illness begins in the spiritual body. So it doesn't matter what you believe, as long as what you believe is in alignment with God, sovereign, freedom, kindness, love, compassion. Those are things that help you heal. How can they be dealt with? They must be dealt with by identification and change of behavior. I talked about it earlier, so I don't really want to repeat. Bradley Potter says, what are your qualifications? I do energy psychology. So my qualifications are over 30 years of experience. If you're looking for something else, I have education. I have formal education, but it's not around energy psychology. I learned that on my own because you can't go to school for this stuff. I have a master's in organizational leadership and conflict management. I have a bachelor's in communication. But energy psychology, really, you have to unlearn all that stuff because that's all, that's not really what helps you become evolved. I don't know if that answers your question. Can you congratulate my boyfriend? Matt, I've been here a while and she is spot on and helpful for everything. Oh, good, Matt. I'm so glad. Hey, if you're new here, I do these videos every day on here. This is my Being in Sync 366 video series. Every day I'm coming on here talking about different aspects of alignment, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, all aligned with the natural laws. Robbie Williams. Energy psychology. So witchcraft? No, not at all. I work with all higher levels of consciousness. If you think that's witchcraft, well then you got a really twisted idea. Just focusing on a life pleases God and turns away his wrath is all that's necessary. All right, Sebastian. Bradley, well, it depends on what world you're working in. I have a whole list of clients. So it is a field that exists. It just doesn't exist for people who are stuck or closed-minded or really disconnected from their heart. Just because you don't know about it doesn't mean it exists. I mean, how closed-minded is that? I mean, really think about that. People think that something doesn't exist because they never heard about it. So if you don't know everything, then it doesn't exist. I mean, just really think about how closed-minded people are to their hearts and to expansion because they think they know it all. And that if they weren't taught it in school, well, then it must not exist. That is what is called a closed system. That is exactly how people get manipulated. All right, y'all? Pastor Huckleberry, well, you must be teaching the heart of the demonic, okay? The heart never lies. Never. Yeah, I have a lot of lists. I've worked a lot with many different kinds of executives. Oh yes, closed system. Because a closed system, Matt, is ego, and the ego really people limited. It definitely keeps you out of expansion. Okay, you all, it's been about an hour. I am going to jump off here now. My name is Kiana Sage. I guide people to peace. Bradley, you can go look on my website. You resonate with something. So I will suggest this. Look up the field of quantum physics and learn, understand what's beyond what is being taught in our, what I would call our educational system is really, really basic and not even at the fundamental stages of how we grow and evolve in consciousness. So I'm not talking about formal education, but you seem to be quite judgmental. I'm just saying what a closed system does is if we don't know it, then it must not exist. And that's not really true, right? So okay. All right, y'all.